Hey everybody, welcome to week 2 Olympic distance 12-week race specific schedule, week 2. Let's get into what the key workouts are. The key workouts are on Saturday and Sunday, and you'll see on the schedule that the Saturday is listed as your long run, Sunday is listed as what I'm going to call your long bike ride. You can flip those. You can do the bike ride on Sunday and the run on Saturday. Just be advised that doing the bike ride on Saturday and the run on Sunday will be a little bit more fatiguing to your body. So doing it this way with the run first followed up by the bike ride, even if the bike ride, if you go a little bit harder, it will still add some recovery to your run because you get more blood flow and you get less pounding. Running always has the most amount of pounding, unless you went on a super hard bike ride, then you might have a lot of fatigue. But in general, running is going to beat you up the most. So if you follow that up with the bike ride, that's going to give you more recovery. Doing it the opposite way, bike ride first, run second. Now you're going to be starting your run a little bit fatigued from your bike ride, so the run's going to be a little bit harder. So if you're more of a really competitive athlete, you may want to do the bike ride on Saturday and the run on Sunday simply and specifically to make it harder for your training. So that's a possibility. Let's get into some specifics of it. For the long run, and this could be a run walk depending on where you're at, I'd love to see you go an hour. I'd like that to be at conversation pace, so the intensity should be aerobic, easy to moderate in terms of perceived exertion. If you're trying to figure out if you have the fitness, you can go up to 2 hours. Now, how do you figure that out? Well, I'd say take your longest run within the last 3-week period, and you can bump that up 10 minutes. So if your longest run in the last 3 weeks was an hour and 10 minutes, feel free to go an hour and 20 minutes. If you were to go from an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and 40 minutes, then you really increase your risk of injury. So that's why that 10-minute buffer is there. If you're not yet at an hour for that run, let's say you're at only the longest run is in 30 minutes in the last 3 weeks, then I really want you to push and work hard to get towards an hour. You could add 10 minutes to that. If your longest run is 30 minutes, then go ahead and add 10 minutes to get to 40 minutes. Again, like last week, if your longest run is only 20 minutes and you're following this program, maybe what you should do is go back, which may mean you have to change your race date depending on your goals, and do the pre-12-week season to get your fitness up. If for some reason you're injured on your run, then I would say is do aqua jogging. Or if your run is at 30 minutes, aqua jogging is super boring, but it's super effective. You want to be in the deep end of the pool with a little waist floaty belt on and just run. You could run longer. Like if you're at 30 minutes, you could go for a full hour in the pool because you're not going to have that pounding. So you won't run the risk of injury, but you'll get in that aerobic work over an hour period. But hopefully you can do an hour pretty comfortably. That would be the goal. And if you want to increase that up to 2 hours, again, the difference would be what are your goals for your Olympic distance race? If your goal is simply to finish, then be down an hour. If running an hour is not a big deal to you and your goals are more competitive, then push yourself and get up to that 2 hour mark. Definitely no need to be able to run 2 hours to do an Olympic distance triathlon. It just means a higher level of fitness. The person that can run 2 hours has a very high level of fitness. So bike ride, I'd love to see you do the lesser of at least an hour and 30 on the bike or 20 miles. So if you're biking, say 18 miles an hour, on average, you're going to get to 20 miles before an hour and 30. So if you choose to, you can stop at 20 miles or you can ride for the full hour and a half. If you're biking, let's say, 14 miles an hour, then you're going to get to an hour and 30 before you get to 20 miles. So you can stop at an hour and 30. Read the workout. It's called a variable gearing set. So get familiar with that. And if you have questions, you can post them below and I can answer them for you. If you're riding inside, I would say you can cap that at an hour and 15 minutes. The reason for that is when you're riding inside, you typically don't have a break. And so a workout inside is usually the equivalent of a longer workout outside. Plus, if you're new to riding inside, it can be very boring unless you're part of a class or you have a good video that you're watching. There's a lot of great new, relatively new web-based programs like TrainerRoad or Zwift, which make riding on a bike indoors a lot more entertaining. But if you're inside and your butt's not hurting you too much, for some reason the butt tends to hurt you more inside than outside. It's probably because you're just sitting on it, you're not standing up very much inside or changing around like you do outside. But anyway, you can go an hour and 15 inside. If you want to go longer inside, great. If you have the ability and your weather is good enough, go ahead and get outside. That would be the preference. As far as the top end, if you have the fitness and you have been riding, 2.5, 3 hours, go for 3 hours if you have that amount of time. Again, just like the long run, if you have the fitness to ride 3 hours, then you're going to go really fast in your Olympic distance triathlon because your fitness level is way up here. And so, if you're out on a training ride and it's 3 hours, you're probably at least getting in 40, 45, 50 miles. So then when you take that into your Olympic distance race, doing 25 miles is nothing to you. So if you have the time, you have the desire, then go for it. Okay, you can still do the variable gearing workout regardless of how much time you ride your bike for. And then again, if you're not there for the long bike ride, if your longest ride is 10 miles, then I really want you to work on really try to push it up as close to that 20 miles as possible. Okay. The second tier of the key workouts, you can go back and watch last week's video because I would really just say the same thing. There's a swim workout, a bike workout, a run workout. They're all threshold workouts. If your goal is just to finish the race, then you can just do these all at a conversation pace, because if your goal is to finish the race, you're really looking at duration, so you're not looking at intensity. But if your goal is to get faster, these are the workouts that will help get you faster. And just like last week, if you're only going to do 5 workouts and you did these 2 plus these 3, that would be the way to do it. And you can absolutely move these around as you need to. You'll also notice on Thursday, I didn't call it out as a flex day, but you can use Thursday as a flex day. So you could move one of these hard workouts to Thursday if you had to, and take one of the other days as a recovery day. On the schedule for Thursday, you'll see that I have a run and a swim. It's the second swim of the week. So if you're going to decide between the run or the swim, it would be better to do the swim and not do the run if you only have time to do one of those workouts. If instead you want to add, that third day of running, you could do the run, possibly the swim as well on Thursday. You can also move the swim to Friday, or you can move the swim to one of your weekend days. The swim is a distance swim, so it's a much lower intensity swim. So easy to stack on one of these 2 workouts. And you could move this, if you move the swim to Friday and you did all of the schedule, that would mean that you don't have, you're working out Monday through Sunday. A lot of people like to have 1 day, if not 2 days, of solid rest, of not doing any, triathlon related exercise activities. So this Thursday is basically, it's up to your discretion. You can use it as an active recovery day. You can move one of these threshold workouts. You can just do the swim. So depending on where you want to fit that swim in. But priority wise, these 2, the long bike ride, long run, even if you have to move them around in your schedule. Second tier, again, those faster workouts for a swim, bike, and run, 1 each. And then if you get all of those in, that's where the next one, I would say definitely the second swim of the week for sure. And then the third run would come after getting in that second swim. Definitely also a big believer in strength training. If you can get in even just 10 to 15 minutes, especially working on your glutes and your core. The glutes and the core, your internal abdominals, those are what's going to keep you injury free the best. So before adding, a third swim, a third bike and run, which is what our tendency is, we always think, I got to do more swimming, biking, and running. Instead, before you do that, add in 3-4 times a week of 10 to 15 minutes of some core strengthening, and that'll serve you much better. All right, that's it. Once again, any questions, just post them in the comments and then I'll answer them. All right, have a great week with training.